First of all, Tom, thank you for taking time to come on the channel today. I know
It's
you're a
okay.
very busy diary. We do appreciate that. I've known you a few years, and I've always been impressed. I gather you were the youngest chief executive of a regional development agency when you were at Yorkshire Forward, and now you're the chief executive of Leeds Council. And you've got great enthusiasm, and you're a wonderful motivator. What drives you, Tom?
Um, I think I love working with other people. I'm a team player, I think. I love team sports and still, unfortunately, play them on a Sunday morning. But no, I think it's about making a difference to people in a city like Leeds. My own background was that I was in care as a toddler. My mum and dad had health problems when we were younger, and our lives were turned around by the public sector. Social workers intervened, and my gran came to live with us, and we were fine and really good, loving upbringing and everything. But these things happen to people. So in my job now, we have thousands of families in Leeds in those situations, and so I've been able to make a difference to people and get the intervention that worked for me for other people. Is one little bit of what we do in a council like this, in a city this big. So it's that difference you can make to people on the ground that really motivates me and makes me want to do the best job that I can.
That's great. And I was in a meeting with you, I think last week, and you were talking about the importance of communication and communicating with the staff. I know you're a big believer in social media and its effect in communications. That's something that I know you believe in, isn't it?
Yeah, I think social media is not the answer to the world, and it's important, I think, to recognise that. And some people think it's going to change the way we live our lives. I don't think it is, but it's another really good way of communicating very directly with people and being able to engage directly with them. And I think it's quite powerful that the council taxpayers of Leeds can ask me a question publicly, directly, via social media. So that's why I do it, because I think it helps to make what we do in the council more visible and more understandable, and you can reach a whole set of new people. I do a video blog now internally once a month. We've just filmed it now, and I reach probably about half the staff watch it, which is amazing in an organisation of thousands of people. So it's just using new ways, new technology to change, isn't it?
It's not the be all end all, but as you say, you've not to lose that personal touch, have you? That's always so important, meeting people and round the table. It's amazing what ideas are shared.
Definitely, and well, the great thing about Yorkshire, of course, is the people, and they're not backwards in coming forwards and telling you what they think, especially from the business community, as we both know. So I love that interaction with people, and I always find that I like meeting the frontline staff in my job as well, because and the people who are getting the services directly, because they really do tell you what's happening. And it's the way of finding out how your organisation's really running.
I'm sure that's the case. Tom, it's very topical at the moment with the report yesterday of devolution and more power for the cities and towns in the regions, particularly the north. And you spoke with Sir Howard. I was there a couple of weeks back on Manchester and Leeds working more together. Your views on that would be really appreciated, Tom.
I think when you look around a city like Leeds and a region like Yorkshire, we've got the talent and the people to do a better job than those that are currently being done 250 miles away, or 600 miles away in Whitehall and Brussels. And 9 out of 10 of the decisions that affect us in Leeds are taken outside the city, and less than 5% of the tax that's raised, that's spent in Leeds, is decided upon here. So 95% down in London. That's got to change, with the austerity and needing to do more for less, and becoming more, if you like, self-sufficient and self-starting as an area. We need more powers and resources to shape our own destiny. And so the report yesterday from Jim O'Neill put us in the vanguard of that. West Yorkshire was mentioned as one of 3 places, London and Manchester being the others, that should be able to take on extra powers on transport, skills, broadband and housing amongst the first tranche. And we've been working really hard to get across to people down in London that, Leeds and West Yorkshire is it's the city region is bigger than other city regions outside London, including Manchester. And we've got to capitalise on that, but we can do things better than they can do down there. We get twice the results at 3 times the speed currently on business grants and youth employment than the national programmes do. So we must get more power over our own destiny. And across the Pennines, briefly, Leeds and Manchester haven't traditionally worked together well. We want to keep the football rivalry, and obviously that's work in progress at the moment. But we want to transform. Actually, the cricket rivalry is a much better one to talk about. But the thing we need to transform is the economic relationship. Our cities are only 37 miles apart, which is the same distance of one end of the Central Line in London to the other, and yet less than 0.5% of people commute between the two cities. So what I'm expecting is next week, actually, Sir David Higgins to come out with a very important statement about how those links between Leeds and Manchester can be improved. And Sir Howard and myself, Sir Richard Leese and Keith Wakefield, the leader here, are working very closely together to make sure that we link up across the Pennines much better than before, not just between Leeds and Manchester, but between all the great towns and cities that surround us as well, because that overall economic area could be the natural alternative to London and a real economic powerhouse.
Yeah, I met a business colleague yesterday. I'm passionate about transport, railway days, of course. And we're going down to London actually to present the Yorkshire suit to Parliament, which was quite interesting.
Very nice it is too.
And my colleague arrived from Shipley, and he said that now I know why I don't come in for early morning meetings, because the train was crowded. I mean, it's good to get people on public transport, but I think I'm encouraged by what you're saying about having more authority over the budgets. And being able to look at local transport in more detail is great, isn't it?
That example is really important for 2 reasons. One is, I think people at first, HS2 high-speed rail was sold very much as about speed. And yes, it will be great that we can get around much quicker. Getting to Sheffield and Birmingham in half the time, for example, will be transformational for the manufacturing industry that makes up that big economic area between our cities, but we'll be standing all the way to London if we don't do something about capacity. So the first issue on high speed is capacity, and the second issue is back to those decisions. The original decisions about the Northern franchise was that there wouldn't be any growth in that over the last decade. There's been exponential growth, as we all know. And that's why we get the sort of cast-offs of London and the South East in terms of the rolling stock. If we're in control of that franchise, which is what we want to be, then we would know that the growth's going to happen. We would know that we need the rolling stock to meet that growth, and we would invest to make sure it happened. So it's those sort of decisions that could make a real difference.
Yeah, and you mentioned, Tom, because I was saying we had this debate yesterday with a colleague, and we were talking about you can get to London now in sort of 2 hours 10 from Leeds on the really fast ones. But I think it's the Birmingham and the Sheffield, isn't it, that high speed too would make such a difference, because to go to Birmingham across country it just takes forever, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And anywhere that's not north south in this country, if you have to cross the country at any point, is really hard because of the way the railways, as you know, developed originally. I think it's really important that we can get to those cities quicker, and also London. London is there's a lot in this for London as well, because London's overheating. People can't afford, the lower paid workers can't afford to buy a house there. The economy's overheating and pricing a lot of businesses out of London in a way that those creative businesses that were the lifeblood of London are now moving out. And it's an opportunity for places like Leeds, but also it's in London's interests that we take half the freight off the roads, that originates north of Hull and Liverpool through better east-west links. So, you know, I think we need a national transport plan, we need high-speed rail, and we need better links between our cities.
Yeah, and finally, Tom, I mean, the Tour de France and the Grand Depart, I mean, we all appreciate this has been great for Yorkshire throughout the world, hasn't it, to get us really on the map. And I know that the council did a fantastic job in the Grand Depart, and it was wonderful to see the scenes and everybody in the centre. And I'm sure you feel that's going to have left a great legacy, particularly for this region.
Absolutely. I mean, Gary Verity and Welcome to Yorkshire did a fantastic job in selling Yorkshire to the world, the thing they're best at. They also worked really well with all the councils in the region who took some really bold decisions at the time when we were cutting back and in real budgetary pressure to invest in a bike race. But working together, I think we achieved something quite unique. And I still come across many people across the world who drop in emails to say what a fantastic event it was. And UK Sport have described it as one of the greatest ever sporting events in the UK. And I think what we've got to do is use it as a springboard, not as a staging post. So we've got great plans for Leeds going forward. The city's buzzing. We've got the arena being voted the best venue in the world this year, new venue in the world. We've got Trinity thriving. John Lewis is going to open in Victoria Gate autumn 2016. We've got the Rugby Union World Cup coming next year. We've got plans to get other sporting events like triathlon to Leeds. 70,000 new homes, lots of other developments. And you know, I just encourage any of the viewers that, you know, Leeds is going to be a really exciting place to be in the future, and it is now, but it can get even better, and that's what we'll be working on in the council.
Tom, really appreciate your time. Brilliant news. Thanks for sharing all that positive news with us, and we wish you well.
Thanks, Keith. Great to see you.